Before a ski even touches the snow, its journey begins here on the workbench. Fresh from the factory, every ski hides a story of precision, of tiny imperfections, and of the fine-tuning that can turn good into exceptional. Today, we'll take you inside the complete process, from the very first inspection to the daily race-ready maintenance, revealing what truly makes a ski fast, reliable, and built to win.
Hi, welcome back. I'm really happy to see you again. Today, we're diving into the world of professional ski preparation. Guiding us through the process is Daniele Pesamosca, the mind behind Ratte, a leading brand in ski edge tuning machines. His equipment is trusted by top-level athletes worldwide, and today, Daniele will share his expertise from the moment a race ski leaves the factory all the way to making it ready for peak performance. So enough talking. Time to jump right in. As Daniele explains, the very first thing you should do when a ski arrives from the factory is to inspect it thoroughly before it ever touches snow. Once a ski has been used, it's almost impossible to prove a defect to the manufacturer, so this initial check is your only real chance to ensure the ski meets the promised quality standards. This is critical because a race ski that isn't perfect from the start won't just underperform, it may also wear out much faster, costing you valuable time and performance throughout the season. The first step, inspect the edge thickness. Daniele recommends starting at the tip of the ski. That's usually where the edge thickness is most consistent, and using it as a reference to compare the entire length of the edge. Look both laterally from the sidewall view and from the base, checking if the steel edge width is uniform. Then, compare both skis as a pair. All four edges should be as close as possible in thickness, with no more than 1 millimeter difference between them. Second step, check the base flatness. Daniele uses a metal ruler, placing it along the base and holding it against the light. If you see light passing through, it means the ski isn't flat, a sign of a manufacturing defect. Third step, the race plate and screws. Daniele stresses the importance of having sealant glue inside the screw holes. Without proper sealing, water can enter over time, causing swelling and deformities in the base, often appearing as small waves under the ski. He recommends unscrewing the plate fasteners to check for glue residue. If there's none, apply fresh sealant before reinstalling the screws. Make sure all screws are properly tightened before mounting the bindings. And lastly, have you ever noticed that faint creaking sound when you bend a brand new ski for the first few times? Daniele explains it's nothing to worry about. It's simply the layers of the ski base settling as the materials adapt. That's why he recommends giving the ski a proper run-in for a few laps before moving on to the final base grinding and structure setup. The base grind is essential, both initially and throughout the season. Daniele has stressed many times just how important it is to keep a ski in perfect condition and to run it through the machine whenever needed. The base grind is a key step, both at the start and throughout the season. As soon as you notice the ski losing its shine or its responsiveness, it's time to reprofile, refresh the angles, restore the glide, and keep the edges behaving consistently. Neglect it, and the ski simply won't deliver the performance you need. Okay, so let's see how the tuning machine works. Inside, a precision grinding stone shapes both the base and the edges, bringing them to the exact angles you need. When it comes to tuning, Daniele always insists on working slowly. With delicate passes, precision always wins over speed. Another key element is the ski's structure. This refers to the pattern etched into the base, which can vary depending on the type of snow, the ski's discipline, and the desired glide characteristics. Choosing the right structure is essential to ensure the ski performs at its best in specific conditions. Now let's talk about some numbers. Don't worry, Daniele just wants to show you a few figures to illustrate how incredibly sensitive this part of ski preparation really is. He uses a high-precision tool that can measure angles down to 6 zeros beyond the millimeter. He uses it very often to measure skis coming straight out of the tuning machine, making sure everything is perfectly aligned. Over time, even the slightest wear can shift the machine's calibration, so these checks are crucial to ensure the skis are always exactly as they should be. The adjustments we're talking about are tiny, microscopic even. Daniele showed us that a tuning change modifies the ski by just 0.025 mm. That's practically invisible to the naked eye, but elite athletes can absolutely feel it. Even the smallest tweak can make a big difference in how a ski responds. Daniele also showed us two other fascinating aspects. First, he measures the cusp radius at the very tip of the edge. Mechanically, it's impossible to create a perfectly sharp angle here because at a microscopic level, the metal is made of atoms arranged in a lattice. A true point cannot exist at this scale, so a tiny rounded radius always forms. Daniele achieves a cusp radius of just 2 microns, giving the ski excellent sharpness, long-lasting performance, and smooth glide. The second detail he measures is edge roughness, which is basically how smooth or coarse the metal edge is. The smoother the edge, the less drag it creates and the better it grips and glides. With his tuning machine, Daniele produces edges 15 times smoother than those sharpened manually. All of these measurements, tiny angle adjustments, cusp radius, and edge roughness, show just how much detail goes into preparing a top-level ski. It's amazing how such small differences, invisible to most of us, can be so clearly felt by elite athletes. Okay, now that we understand the precision behind it, let's see how to properly set up the skis. The very first thing you want to do when preparing a ski, especially a brand new one, is to remove the phenol and tit anal from the top edge. This step is essential because it allows you to work effectively on the metal edge without interference. It's something you need to do not only on new skis, but also regularly over time as the edge wears down, so you can keep the working area clean and accessible. Removing phenol and tit anal properly takes experience. You don't want to go too fast, or the tool will start skipping and create small notches along the edge, and those are almost impossible to remove. The key is finding the right balance of speed and pressure. Once this is done, we move into the actual daily preparation work. When it comes to preparing a race ski, there are actually 2 common approaches, and it really depends on personal preference. Daniele's preferred sequence is to start by cleaning the base thoroughly. Then apply the wax, remove it, and only after that move on to sharpening the edges. This method is for true professionals, as it keeps the edges at their sharpest until the very last step. Most people, however, work the other way around. They'll usually begin with sharpening, then move on to cleaning, followed by waxing, and finally scraping off the wax. And for this presentation, we'll follow this more common sequence. Okay, so let's move on to the edges. They can be sharpened either by hand or with a machine. When working by hand with a file, Daniele recommends using both hands, one to keep the file pressed firmly against the edge, the other to pull it along. Again, speed and pressure are critical. Too fast or too slow, too much or too little force, and you won't get the desired result. Files also come in different sizes, and placing the file slightly at an angle allows you to shift it gradually as it wears, extending its life. With a machine like the Ratte, Daniele's own invention, the process involves a rotating grinding stone that sharpens and refreshes the edge. It produces a very consistent and precise edge, which lasts much longer than a hand-tuned edge and is generally smoother. It's also easier for less experienced tuners, since sharpening by hand takes skill, practice, and the right feel for speed and pressure. Great, so after we sharpened our edges, there's still one more important step to do: removing the burr. The burr is a tiny rough lip that forms on the edge after sharpening. If the edge is done by machine, you usually have much less burr to remove. If it's done by hand, you often have more. To remove it, Daniele uses a diamond stone, either 1000 or 1500 grit, and works in both directions, first with the stone flat against the base, then along the sidewall. This smooths the burr and sets the final cutting edge. The very last pass should always be done along the side edge to ensure the correct final angle and sharpness. All right, now let's dive into the details of ski base preparation and waxing, an area that's often underestimated but full of crucial insights and practical tips for everyone. For this part, we're joined by Angelo Del Panno, a true expert in ski base preparation and waxing, who collaborates closely with Maplus, and in fact, this entire segment is brought to you together with Maplus. Let's start from the basics. Angelo highlights the importance of summer preparation, using the off-season months to make your skis faster. He explains that this is a long and delicate process, something that must be carefully studied and executed, never done randomly. Just like Daniele Pesamosca emphasized earlier, Angelo reminds us that a new ski should be skied at least 5 times before putting it through the stone grinding machine. This step allows the material to settle, removing air pockets and ensuring the ski base is stable before applying any structure. Another key point he stresses: a dirty ski is the #1 enemy of speed. If you want a fast ski, the base must always be perfectly clean. That's why regular cleaning is essential. Here Angelo introduces 2 specific Maplus products. The Blue Cleaner, designed to remove dirt and salt. and the green cleaner, which removes not only dirt and salt, but also traces of fluorine. Once the ski is clean, we move on to one of the most important and often most underestimated steps in ski preparation, the base saturation. As Angelo explains, saturation is fundamental because it prevents dirt from penetrating deep into the ski base. By applying soft wax slowly and deeply, the wax penetrates into the microstructure, creating a protective layer that is difficult to remove. This barrier keeps dirt out and also protects the base from burn marks that can occur from friction at high speeds. With a properly saturated ski, the base is much more resistant and long-lasting. Now let's dive into the three main methods of ski base saturation. The first method is done in the workshop, using a heater or oven. Up to 6 pairs of skis can be placed inside a special heating box, pre-waxed with a soft base wax. The skis are kept at a controlled temperature of around 50 to 60 degrees Celsius for 5 hours. This slow and steady process allows the wax to deeply penetrate the ski base, creating a long-lasting protective layer. The second method is the thermocover, a simpler solution often used by athletes and coaches. 2 skis are placed base to base, with a heating blanket in between, set at about 50 degrees Celsius. Angelo reminds us to take advantage of gravity. Keep the skis horizontal on a bench, and after 1.5 hours, flip them so the upper ski becomes the lower one. This way, wax penetrates evenly into both bases. One crucial detail: once the process is finished, unplug the thermocover, but do not remove it right away. Let the skis cool down slowly together with the blanket for about 30 minutes. This prevents thermal shock, which could damage the ski structure. The third method is the infrared technique, Angelo's personal favorite. Here, a specialized infrared device is used to heat the wax and drive it deep into the ski base. This system can be adjusted with different modes and settings, ensuring maximum penetration and precision. It's one of the most effective ways to achieve deep, durable saturation. Now that the ski base is fully saturated, it's time to talk about waxing. There are 3 main methods, each with their own advantages and drawbacks. But waxing isn't always the same. It changes depending on whether you're preparing skis for training or for competition. In the next section, we'll break it all down and see, step by step, how to get your skis ready for each situation. The first and probably most common method is the iron waxing. The wax is melted onto the base with a hot iron, allowing it to penetrate deeply. Then the excess is scraped and brushed off for a clean finish. Here, Angelo warns that ironing is effective but needs caution. On slalom skis, the tips and tails are very thin yet wide, and repeated heating can deform the structure. That's why he recommends using the iron only about 20% of the time and relying on the other methods for the remaining 80%. Great, so let's move on with the second method, the waxing roll machine, an efficient, less aggressive option. It applies wax evenly without overheating the ski, making it safer for frequent use. And finally, we have liquid wax. It's the quickest and easiest to apply. You simply spread it over the ski base with an applicator or cloth. Let it dry for a few minutes, and then brush it in. Angelo considers it very effective. However, be careful. On icy or highly abrasive snow, it can wear down the base and even risk burning the ski. For training, match the wax to the season. On summer glaciers, the snow is hard and abrasive, so use tougher, more durable products from September onward. When conditions are less aggressive, a softer wax usually suffices. Race days, on the other hand, demand much more attention and precision. Let's go through the full workflow step by step, so every detail is perfectly tuned for maximum speed. The very first step is always cleaning the ski. Use proper solvents to ensure the base is free of dirt and old wax. This step is crucial. As Angelo points out, don't be afraid to clean your skis thoroughly, because without a perfectly clean base, all the following steps won't be as effective. So next, we need to apply a base wax. This layer ensures the race wax will bond properly to the structure. And once the base wax is scraped away, we apply the race wax, chosen according to the snow temperature and the forecast for the next day. Great. So the next thing we need to add to our ski is the hardener. It widens the temperature range, so your ski stays fast even if the weather shifts at the last minute. It also protects the base from burning under high stress. After applying the hardener, take a steel brush, hold it at a 45 degrees angle, and make 3 gentle passes with light pressure. This opens the ski's structure and prepares it for the finishing layer. The final step is adding a finisher, a layer that maximizes the ski's speed. There are three main options: liquid, powder, and block. The choice of finisher depends heavily on the structure of the course. If the flat section is at the start, a liquid finisher gives explosive speed right out of the gate, though it's less durable. If the flat comes at the end, a powder finisher is slower to accelerate, but carries speed through the finish line thanks to its durability. Timing is key, especially with liquid finishers. The black type takes around 2 hours to fully bond, so it's ideal when applied the night before a race. The white liquid dries in just 5 minutes, making it perfect for quick touch-ups between runs. And that brings us to the end of the ski tuning process. Tiny details make a huge difference on the snow. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.